Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Valle, and today we are going to work on session 7 of our JA Student Managed Investment Funds program. Session 7 is about preparing for a pitch presentation. You've all learned so much, and now it's time to go ahead and demonstrate what you've learned about all these stocks, investments, and all the options that you have throughout the course of our program. Throughout this session, we will discuss learning objectives, key terms, how to start a pitch presentation, 9 ways to perfect your pitch and investor presentation, and end with a research activity as we always have, along with a session review. At the end of the program, you will be able to analyze public company and make investment recommendations on whether to purchase stock, equity, ownership in any given company. At this time, you will be able to read and analyze company balance sheets and income statements and recommend whether to buy, sell, or hold stocks. The objective of this particular lesson is to make sure that you know how to prepare a pitch presentation. A pitch presentation is nothing more than a short presentation in which you introduce your company, product, or idea. You only have a few minutes to convince your audience and attract potential investors, so you definitely want to bring your A game to this presentation.
Hi, I'm Dominic Calento, and in this video I want to talk to you about how to start your pitch or presentation. They say it takes about 7 seconds to make a first impression, and that doesn't mean to say that if you do things wrong, if you kind of mess things up, you can't get it back. But what it does give us is a very clear window of opportunity to get our audience engaged, on side, and listening to what we have to say. So the kind of most important thing to think about really is not to be boring. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, don't do what everyone else does. I've sat through so many presentations where I've listened to someone say, good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, everybody, or good morning, everybody. My name's Dominic, I'm from Inflow Training, and I'm here today to talk to you about, well, if you're here today to talk to me about, then just talk to me about it. Get on with it, get in there, and tell me the interesting stuff that's going to get my attention. So what I'd recommend you do is this. I'd recommend that you start with a bang. I recommend that you do something a little bit different. I don't mean do anything crazy or, pull a big stunt. What I do mean is start, instead of all that preamble, that good morning, good afternoon, start with a fact, with a figure, with a quote, with a story, maybe a bit of video or a bit of music, something that's going to grab the audience's attention and really get them engaged. Because what we don't want them doing, and this is what I see in so many speeches and presentations, is while the speaker's starting to speak, the audience are spending the first couple of minutes just finishing their emails or their text messages on their smartphones. And what we want people to do is to realize that you've started and to start paying attention to what it is you're talking about. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the secret to starting your pitch or your presentation, is to start with a bang, grab your audience's attention, dispense with all the niceties, and get them to engage with what you're saying straight away. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear your comment.
So as the video said, hook your audience. Do whatever you can to make sure that you've captivated them. You don't have to start boring. Go ahead and find a figure, maybe about the investment stock or the company that you have selected. So by hooking them, you need to present a compelling business case that makes them believe not only that your company will generate significant returns on their investment, but also that you have the capability to execute that vision and make it work. And this quote comes from Amy Millman, from the president of Springboard Enterprises. And there are 9 ways to perfect your pitch investor presentation. First, you want to be compelling. You want to arouse interest immediately, provide substance in the work you are presenting, project solid management expertise, own your content, know it well, and execute it, present it. Present tangible numbers, show the data, show basically the history of the investment that you are calling everybody to go ahead and consider. And conclude with a call of action. Make your slides readable, prepare and practice, and show your passion. It's important that you really sound like the expert for the case that you are building. By being compelling, what you put into it is what you're going to get. When preparing your presentation, remember to be bold, tell a story, be concrete, but also be brief. You don't want to expand too much. You want to make sure that you use just enough time to captivate your attention so that they don't drift off while you're presenting. Keep them hooked and keep them interested in what you are saying throughout time. And to do that, you need to have done your research and really give live examples of what you are actually envisioning for this investment option. Don't be boring. Arouse interest immediately. Make them thirst for more. Make them want to hear more about your investment and ideas that you have in mind. An investor will make their decision within the first 30 seconds of your pitch. So make sure you cover your offerings, market potential, the need for your product or service, and the ways in which your business will transform that need into business opportunities, your competitive edge. What is it that sets you apart from all other investment options? Provide substance. Like I said, know your content. Describe in vivid details what the must-haves are. Define the size of the market, analyze your competition, and state your advantage. Why are you better than the other competitors who are very similar in offering maybe options that come close? Describe the strategies you'll use to reach your target market and know what drives your business model. Project solid management expertise, own it. You have to be an expert in the area that you are pitching. So know it and know it well. Don't just know how it's doing now, but know the history and what the trends have been and what have caused certain trends to take place. And if at some point, maybe your stock didn't perform so well, what triggered it to maybe shift and go downwards and then possibly potentially go back upwards? Or if it's stagnant and steady and you suspect that it may rise, what are some of the things that you are envisioning for that to happen? So the strength of your management team is critical to your success and to your ability to raise venture and angle financing. Venture capitalists invest in people, not just ideas on paper. They want to be sure that your team can deliver. Make your presentation tangible. Be precise. Don't say I think or I wonder or maybe. No. Avoid the jargon and those buzzwords that might kind of, exclude some people. Keep it real. One, basic English is all we need, but be confident. Research shows, the data demonstrates. Looking at the stock and how it has performed within the last 3 months is very different than how it performed last year at the same time. It definitely demonstrates a strong shift and heading towards maybe a bull trend. All right, so you have to keep those things in mind. Conclude with a call to action. Always end your pitch with a call to action. Explain how you plan to invest your money and basically what you're planning on it, what your vision is, and include an exit strategy for it. Now, fun fact, the most expensive share on the New York Stock Exchange is Berkshire Hathaway, which closed at 71,000 in 2000 and at the end of 2005 was $88,620. Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, currently sells for over $170,000 a share. Did you know that? Pretty cool, huh? Moving back to our presentation, you want to make sure your slides are readable. At JA, we're providing you a template for your presentation. Does that mean that you have to have everything exactly as has been laid out in the template? No, but the ideas that are in the template must be covered in your presentation. Use concise bullet point lists. Type should be large enough to be read by your audience. Use the upper and lowercase letters for easier readability and make sure that it is error-free. Lighter typefaces and colors make it very difficult to read. So make sure that it is visible all the way to the back of the room where you may have that investor who has the money to go ahead and invest in you. So in this case, we're looking at stocks, of course, but You want to trigger and captivate everyone's attention. Graphics can help make your slides more interesting, but don't overload it. Maybe if you have a company in mind, let's say Sephora, the black and white stripes are key to Sephora. So maybe that's some of the coloring that you may choose for your slides. Or McDonald's, the red and gold are key colors for that. So use those triggers to actually design and bring life to your presentation. Key to perfection and to getting what you want is to prepare and practice. Practice, practice, practice. Can't say it enough. Develop a list of questions you might be asked and answer them in advance. Ask your coworkers and your partners so that you can test each other's skills on actually responding. Maybe assign different areas of expertise to each of you so that you know who and when each member of your team, if there are multiple members on your team, will be responding. Agree beforehand who's going to cover what. That makes your presentation far more seamless and assigns an area of expertise to the different members of the group. However, if you're on your own, allow time for others to ask you questions and give yourself the opportunity to practice responding to them and take feedback to grow your presentation. Show your passion. A good presentation excites and energizes the audience. Financials, the competitive advantage, the market potential, the ideas are all important, but how you present the information is what's going to get the deal. Everyone has amazing stocks. I'm sure everyone has amazing numbers as well. How you pitch it is going to make the entire difference. Your passion to succeed at something must come across. If you can't get your audience charged up about your plan, it's over. There really is no point. So get them into what you want. Also, remember to look like you're enjoying what you're doing and you can handle the challenge. You definitely want this to happen. Now, for those of you that get a little nervous, practice, practice, practice is going to help you get through this. So make sure you mask your nerves and make it look like you're having fun presenting and you own what you're doing. So for your research activity is actually to prepare your pitch presentation. Using the information that you have learned, you're going to create this presentation in the form of PowerPoint, and you will then present it to a live audience. However, the scenario is if you are given a $10,000 sum to invest for junior achievement, create a pitch presentation indicating the best investment options. Session review. Remember, pitch presentation requires preparation. It's important to engage your audience when presenting a pitch. Be compelling, arouse interest, provide substance, demonstrate confidence, be precise, include a call to action, design the slides so that they can be read and understood, prepare, practice, but most importantly, show your passion. And before I move on to the next sessions, I'd like to share the template that I promised. At Junior Achievement, we will provide this template to you and your teachers so you know exactly what should be included in your presentation and you have really no surprises moving forward. So this is a pitch presentation template. It indicates how you should use it and the guiding criteria for it. Judges will be looking at your compliance with the guidelines, your investment summary, your thesis, your business description, the risks, and the current valuation and target prices. We'd like for you to begin by telling us who you are, who's the investment team, maybe include photos of each other, of the team members, and names, all right? At the right-hand side over here, I've included a note to make sure you also make mention to your classroom volunteer and give them credit for the work they're doing and your teacher and school. And we are JA of Greater Miami. Be sure to list our organization as well. In the next slide, your investment summary. Again, does it have to look like this? No. As long as you design a slide deck or PowerPoint presentation that includes all of this content, you're good to go. And make sure that you cover why you are selecting the stock, provide a rationale for the selection along with a company name, ticker, and price per share. This is probably a good place to insert an image to represent the company. State if you are interested in reinvesting the dividends in the target sale price to maximize gains. In the next slide, Be sure to indicate what type of order, okay, you would like to have processed. Indicate the intended number of shares and the type of order that you're interested in executing. If it's a market order, a limit order, a stop limit order, go ahead, read the descriptions, go back to your lessons, and make sure that you know what you would like to go ahead and carry out for your investment. Your investment thesis. This is what's going to tell us why you want this investment to take place. Determine the cause of the trend. Access the existing trend. Consider the risks involved. Why is the stock going to reach your price target? I go ahead and insert an example for you so that you have an idea as to how you should phrase yours. Be as creative as you want, but have the substance. Show that you are the expert in the area. In the next one, you definitely want that business description, the name, the location, the goals, the advantages, the structure, the mission, the description. Why is a stock going to reach your price? Go ahead and insert this and provide an example as well. Risks. You have different types of risks. Consider what can go wrong. These are just some, to name a few. The listing is on the side here. There's no need to include them all. Just include what you find or consider to be relevant to the investment option selected. And then you have the current valuation and target price. The current price and expected target price should be included in a statement. You can go ahead and complete the slide as you wish. And then at the very end, use that slide to go ahead and showcase any final thoughts that haven't been captured in the previous sections of the deck. Okay, we definitely want you to go ahead and show your talents and close off your presentation. Ultimately, all the areas of this document will go into the investment transaction form. So all the statements that I have included examples for in here are statements that you can later copy and paste into your transaction document to execute the investment. So be sure that you're concise, be sure you save it, keep it at hand's reach, because if your team wins or places in those top 2 slots, you're going to need this real quick. And of course, you have the presentation guidelines that I mentioned before. Your teacher will also have this document at hand, and it'll go ahead and give you little points, that are more specific to the details that you will be judged on. Maybe you get some ideas on what to include in your presentations as well. Teachers, if you'd like to pause the video at this point, hand these to your students and have them look through them, feel free to do so. If not, we're going to continue on with a presentation and they can do so later. Of course, the slide deck for our session has come to an end. However, as in every session, you have your lesson quiz. So this is your lesson 7 quiz. Please make sure you go ahead and complete this. And because this is the last session, not only do you have this lesson 7 quiz, but you also have the post-session survey afterwards as well. In making sure that you execute everything, all the requirements for the lesson after the quiz, go ahead and share your opinion. Think about what you've learned today and form an opinion about the topic discussed. Share your opinion and support it with some ideas presented. This is your exit slip for the session. And then, of course, you have your post test, as I mentioned. I wish you the best of luck. I truly hope that you enjoy this process and that all of you have stellar pitch presentations that you're proud of. I'm excited to see what you come up with and truly want to see what the best investment is. And may the best one make it up there. I look forward to learning more about you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.